that was his final gift to me also. And in May, Buddy turned out to be diabetic, and I was giving him IVs and insulin, being the doctor. But when he got ready, too, he just gave me a look with his eyes, and I just sat with him and said, okay. And he died quietly and peacefully. And I've seen this over and over again with our animals, and our family, I may add. I won't get into that, but nobody in our family had trouble dying because it wasn't a failure, if you know what I mean.
Right, transition.
A loser. Yeah, you were tired of your body. And I think that's what I watch with the animals, when they get tired of their body and they're not having fun anymore. And that can take a lot. I mean, Furphy was attacked by a neighbor's dog. I won't get into all that, but they had two horrible dogs. And our dogs walked in the woods between the two houses and didn't know there was an electric fence. So when they stepped on the other side of the fence, the other two dogs immediately attacked them.
Yeah.
Furphy lost an eye, and he went through hell, recovering and getting better. But he never complained. He didn't say, "Oh, my fur's all screwed up. Oh, I only have one eye." He was full of life and happy. And that's, again, I say what we have to learn from them, not to focus on what's wrong and the problem and what doesn't look right. I need to go to the beauty parlor.
Tell us about Furphy and Smudge Bunny, because there was a similar relationship with Smudge and Furphy.
Yeah. Oh, what happened? I'm still learning. When I brought the rabbit home, all the veterinarians said to me, keep them apart from the dogs and the other animals until they know each other so they don't hurt the rabbit. Well, after about 10 days, I stepped out of the house and realized I hadn't closed the pet door between the yard and the house to keep the dogs in, and the rabbit was outside. But I thought, 10 days they've been living together, so we should be all right. But when I got home, I realized Furphy had grabbed the rabbit like a stuffed toy and, shaken him, and you could see wounds around his head and neck. And, oh, boy, was I upset with myself. But anyway, we take him to a vet, and I'm taking care of his wounds as a surgeon. And the other thing he taught me, I always knew when I was hurting Smudge, when she would turn and lick my hand. And I thought, wow, what a wonderful thing. She doesn't turn and bite my finger, which she could have. But she licks my hand to tell me, you're hurting me. And I would stop and rest for a while. And then one day, I went out to take her into the house in the evening, because I never left her out at night. I was always worried about any predator jumping the fence, could grab her. So every night I'd go out, and she wouldn't let me pick her up. She'd run around the yard, drive me insane. So one night, I thought, let me ask her what she's doing. And I said in my mind, why don't you let me pick you up? And I was amazed by her answer. You don't treat the cats that way. I said, look, the cats can take care of themselves. They can climb a tree, run around, run inside. You can't move the way they do. I'm worried about you. From that night on, she would let me pick her up. But then one night I go out, and I call her name, no response. I look around the yard, I don't even see her. I thought, oh my God, what's happened? And then I see Furphy lying on the ground, so I went over and I petted him. And I noticed something. Underneath him was the rabbit. She was using him to hide from me. I couldn't see her when she was embedded under his chest and stomach in the fur. And, that taught me about forgiveness. Here is someone who has threatened her life, and he is now her buddy and doing her a favor by keeping her hidden so she doesn't have to go in. But those are the lessons animals teach us. And one other, the dog we have now, everybody should read this poem, but it'll touch your heart. It's called Rags by Edmund Vance Cook. Because again, I was at the shelter bringing back a dog named Brady, which is my name in Irish, because Brady was a husky, and he was so big and powerful running through the house. He just scared all the other pets, so I just felt I had to take him back. I mean, he has a home now, but I loved it because, again, I walked in and said, what's his name? Brady. Okay, I'll take him home. But anyway, this little guy sitting there looking at me with eyes that are piercing my heart. So I said, I'll take him home. And I named him after the poem Rags. And what it's about and why it touched me, a dog saves the life of many soldiers on the front lines. War ends. This one soldier wants to take him home, but he can't find him. He realizes he must have been shipped home. He goes back to medical school, and that's why it touched me as a doctor. He goes back to medical school, walks into the laboratory where there's a dog cut open on the table. And he realizes it's Rags. And he goes over to him, and Rags licks his hand and then dies. And as the, young medical student says, if there's no place in heaven for love like that, I'll take my place in hell. But boy, that touched my heart so. But that's what they're teaching us all the time, love and forgiveness and everything else. And if we can stop thinking and become who we really are, and identify ourselves, that it's not about material things, it's about life. And think of how many, I love it when I see a picture of a tiger nursing a little baby pig, Oh,
yeah, animal interspecies friendships are heartwarming.
Yeah, because, there's one, this is a story, I always talk about the ugly duckling, realizing who he is on a pond. See, when he's not saying, my mother's a rat, she threw me out of the house, told me I was ugly, he's got a quiet mind. He sees he's a beautiful swan. And Joseph Campbell talked about a tiger who gave birth to a baby tiger and then died due to hemorrhage after the pregnancy and after delivery. And the goat she was chasing stopped and said, oh, look, her baby. We got to help the baby baby tiger. And they go over, and it's, my thought was, why not just stamp on it and kill it? The mother was after you. But they pick it up, and they take care of it, and it grows up thinking it's a goat. And then one day another tiger shows up and says, hey, stupid, you're not a goat, you're a tiger. What the hell are you doing? And he says, here's a piece of meat. And Joseph Campbell has a sense of humor, because the little tiger says, oh, no, I'm a vegetarian. But what does he do? He says, come with me. And he takes him to a still pond. And he says, see, you're not a goat, you're a tiger. And again, that hit home, because as Campbell said, it's the quiet mind, the meditation, yoga, whatever you want to call it. When you quiet your mind, then you see the truth. And that's something I've learned. If you don't quiet your mind, you don't see the truth.
Well, and a quiet mind is so important to make a deep connection with the animals in your life. So Absolutely. They really can give us a lot of lessons in that regard.
Yeah. And, more often when you read fiction, you find the truth, as crazy as that sounds. Because the fiction writers see the world and write about it. They create characters, so you make it fiction. Because the characters are not, the people they watched. They leave them out. But fiction contains truth. And in Solzhenitsyn's Cancer Ward, he describes self-induced healing as a rainbow-colored butterfly. See, he doesn't talk about a spontaneous remission like doctors do. Oh, you're lucky. He talks about self-induced, and it tells you how. The rainbow is your life in order. Every color literally has an emotional meaning. And the butterfly was a caterpillar and had to break out of the cocoon. And in that struggle, the butterfly and the rainbow are created, and beautiful things happen. And if we could all work on that kind of harmony in our lives, a lot of wonderful things would happen.
Boy, that is really an important lesson. Thank you so much for sharing that, Bernie. Well, we have about a minute. Do you have another short story you'd like to bless us with today?
Boy, I don't know. My mind seems quiet and empty. But, I'd say if everybody just had an animal as their role model, it would be wonderful. And
it's true. I think that idea of doing what Lassie would do is so important. Yeah. And the other important thing I think I've learned from you, Bernie, is that everyone is an animal communicator. You don't have to call someone and pay money or doubt your ability to connect with your animal, because we all hear them and we can listen to them, and we sure as heck all talk to them, right?
Yes, and distance is not an issue. My friend Amelia has been in California and Africa while I'm in Connecticut, and she has told me where to find my lost pets while she's at that distance. And it's amazing because, I mean, one of her emails to me was, I know the cat's alive, I can see the moon through its eyes. I mean, she's amazing. But each time she would describe exactly where the cat was hiding because they didn't want me to find them and bring them, in and so forth. And I've learned to do the same thing. When one of our cats was named Hope, she loved to go outside. But in the evening, I would send her my thoughts. Say, I worry about you out at night in the woods. I want you to come in, share the bed with you, and boom. You open the kitchen door and she's sitting there. Or she'd come to a glass slider and I'd see her and let her in. And all I had to do was tell her, why I was concerned and why I wanted her to come in the house.
Well, Bernie, that is such a good truth to end this talk with, to be able to remember that you can talk to your animals and that they do hear you. Right. So until next week, thank you for listening to Dr. Judy Morgan's Naturally Healthy Pets, today with your host, Sally Morgan, holistic physical therapist for pets and people, and Dr. Judy's sister, on DreamVision7Radio.com, where we've been having the pleasure of talking to Dr. Bernie Siegel, who also hosts a radio show on DreamVision7.com, and you can find out more about Dr. Bernie at www.BernieSiegelMD.com, and that Siegel is Siegel. Thank you so much, Bernie.
You did a good job, kid.
That's all for today. Find more answers to your questions next time on Dr. Judy Morgan's Naturally Healthy Pets, every Monday and Tuesday at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern Time by going to DreamVision7Radio.com. Join holistic veterinarian Dr. Judy to discover healthy options for raising your pets in a more holistic manner. Visit drjudymorgan.com to learn more.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.